Hi, this is Perry Mason, and this is going to be part one of our epic Christmas adventure. If you don't know yet, we're already in Lincoln, Nebraska. We traveled via upstate New York. That was 800 miles that way, and then we drove to Ohio, picked up a transmission that's hanging out in the back of our car right now, some headers, some heads. As you can see, the car is bottomed out, and we broke some stuff along the way, and it was quite an adventure and a little bit of a learning experience, because there's the things we fixed and the things we found, there's something to be of interest of. So if you like the show Roadkill, if you like adventures, please watch, because you will love these videos. They will not disappoint. I'm going to break it down to a two-part on the travel here. The repairs I'm going to do here are going to be a third part, and there's going to be a fourth part on our way home. Well, hopefully it'll be uneventful, but so far there's been a lot of drama. We fried our battery cable, completely melted the lead terminal in half, cracked the thermostat housing on the way up to New York, had to replace it with the Ford one, which didn't fit, but it's all they had, and I had to file away the holes and make that work. You'll see that as you watch the video, and it was just a crazy adventure. So watching it, I hope you enjoy it, and Merry Christmas to everybody. And one more thing, while you're out buying junk your cousin doesn't really need, spending $20 there and then he's spending $20 on you, just remember, sometimes the best gift is the gift of communion, and that's what I'm giving to my relatives here. I drove thousands of miles to come see them. Of course, I also wrapped up a bunch of purchases that I made, 3-4 months ago, and saved on shipping. But regardless, I get to see my relatives. They haven't seen me in a while. Grandpa gets to see the grandkids, and I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and stay safe out there. Well, we're getting ready for this trip, and a good thing to always do on these older cars is pull out the bearings, pack them more full of grease, and make sure the tolerances are all tight, because you've been going a few thousand miles. Anything wrong would see damage after thousands of miles, which is months on end for daily driving. But for a trip like this, thousands of miles means I could lose a wheel literally tomorrow. So that's why you always want to triple check your bearings, make sure they're in good shape. If you need, buy more bearings. They're only $8 a piece. They're $8 worth of insurance. That's highly recommended. Just go through everything, make sure your tie rods are tight, your ball joints are tight, and your bearings are good but not too tight so they don't burn up, and make sure they have plenty of grease. And I'll show you in a minute just how it spins. Obviously I got a little bit of caliper drag, but these are hub-centric rings. They're just a little safety measure. Some people swear by them, some people don't matter, but I mean they're 20 bucks for a set of 4. And these wheels, these are Boss 338s. Their hub diameter is pretty big, whereas they're what's called lug-centric. They're centered around the lugs, and a Chevy hub is 70.3 millimeters. All these manufacturers claim that, oh, you don't need a hub ring, and the wheel doesn't have to be hub and lug-centric, but I'd be hard-pressed to find a factory steel 14 or 15-inch wheel that is not both lug and hub-centric. So if the manufacturers with billions of dollars of research find a reason for the wheel to be square on the hub and the lugs, there's probably a good reason for it. So that's what I do it. I can't say I've seen any difference in them. I've driven for months without them, and I've driven for years with them, so there's really no difference. But I like that little tiny margin of added safety, just in case. If anything, all it does is helps you center the wheel before you put the lugs on, so that there is absolutely no way the lugs can come on crooked. They won't, because they're cone lugs, but you know what I mean. It just helps a little bit. You throw the wheel on, and all the lugs will almost be centered. After you put the first lug on loosely, and the second one. Anyways, I haven't put them on tight yet or anything, but this gives you some idea of how tight it's got to be. It's slowing down because of caliper drag, not because the actual bearing's tight. The bearing spins freely, but there's no play, and there's no vertical play, and the only play I got is a little bit of tie rod play. I got to replace them. I'm going to rebuild my suspension as soon as I get back. But it's kind of a fine line between too tight on the bearings and burning them up in 500 miles and too loose and getting a lot of wobble and destroying a lot of things. So just keep that in mind. Alright, well, another important aspect is tighten up your headers. If you got headers, you know how the bolts are always getting loose, you're always getting leaks. Tighten up the header bolts to the rest of your exhaust so you're not breathing fumes for thousands of miles. That's just annoying. While you're down here, make sure the bell housing and the block are bolted together tight, and that your transmission linkages are all tight and all the pins are where they're supposed to be. Take a good look at your tie rods. It's important. We're all packed tight. Just dropped the phone. There's the missus.
Hi.
There's the little guy and there's me. We're got the bearings all done. Turns out I was missing a couple bolts on my bell housing. They'd shaken loose and went on their way. So I had to replace them, make sure all my bearings were good, they were greased up, exhaust was good, and topped off on fluids. We're all good to go. Now we're about to head out. stopped working. Then I realized I took the thermostat out in the summer, so the heater core is getting hardly any flow to it. So about 10 minutes left of closing. About the gasket, about the thermostat, about 160 degree thermostat. And some antifreeze. Before we go north, we're in Pennsylvania already. Damn. Rusty water everywhere. As you can see, I can put my finger in it and not burn. So, yeah. Oh, no way. Cracked. We did. That right there is a Ford housing. You can see it doesn't quite fit. And it's got this extra bung, but it's got an O-ring on it, so it works. I had to use my freaking Leatherman and cut the holes a little wider. The Ford one was too narrow, the Chevy one was too wide. And the parts store is closed, as you can see. This gentleman here stopped by and helped us, kept the kids warm while I was messing with the stupid thermostat. I tried everything. I tried super gluing the other one back together, and yeah, that obviously didn't work. I wound up using this one. You can see the bolts. You can see where I had to cut it wider, and then the hose. That was a different diameter hose, but it's working out for now. So we're on our way. We got 400 miles to go, and then another 1,400 miles. So wish us luck, because you can't get these parts nowhere, not for Pontiac, which sucks. Well, we're cruising along with our Ford thermostat housing. I think it's Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Got about 300 miles to go. Fastback. Let me see. It's this thing got rear-ended so hard, even the door's wrinkled. But the side glass and the back glass is intact. And all the interior trim pieces are all good. Fold down rear seat, all that. It's got a good VIN. I'm literally gonna have to replace 90% of the sheet metal though. It sucks. But yeah, this is my C code 68 Fastback. This is what I'm gonna do as a bullet clone, just so y'all tracking. I haven't seen this sucker in a while. This is a good, what you call a good traveling gun. Good old Ruski double barrel. The barrels I have is a 22 insert, a couple of 45. They're rifled barrels. They slide in here. So whenever I carry my 1912 Colt 45, I have this as a backup and crossload ammo. Finally, left this shit up here. Freeze. Coming home to roost. this concludes part 1 of our trip. This is Perry Macy signing off. And I am one bad motherfucker. Now you know.